Hi everybody, happy year Stones and Crystals, the final month of December for the year 2022 from Lawrenceburg Public Library. So thank you to you for expressing interest in checking out the kits and being enthusiastic about the offerings. Thank you to the friends for sponsoring it, and thank you most of all to Lawrenceburg Public Library. And again, just a reminder, I'm Carisa with 7th Street Gifts. I own and operate a small family brick and mortar apothecary in Newport, and that's where all your stones and crystals come from. If you get up to the city and your holiday shopping, we are open 7 days a week, and you can look us up online for directions and come in and say hi. So for this month of December 2022, and my son Michael's birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, he turned 20. I know I was a child bride. We're doing the Stone of Turquoise. And then as a little Christmas present and kind of a finale to the year end of Stones and Crystals for the 12th month, we included a selenite wand as well. So this month we'll have an African turquoise and a selenite wand, and we'll look at them together in just a second and then kind of talk a little bit more about them. So turquoise is something that we're all familiar with. It's like a beloved stone, one that's easy to pick out. It's common in jewelry, and not many people don't care for it or like it because it's just so darn pretty and vibrant. In the last few years, there's been quite a bit of a turquoise shortage, and the prices have spiked. They've almost, some cases almost quadrupled, but they've at least doubled. So there was about 6 or 7 months at the shop, and I've had stone vendors for over 20 years that we couldn't even get real authentic turquoise at all from anywhere. And one of the main reasons is turquoise, true authentic turquoise, takes millions of years to form and make. So after you mine it, they kind of hit like a wall in the mine where they were kind of waiting for nature to catch up with the production demand. And what happened is nature didn't catch up with the production demand in terms of years, but they just looked far enough and they found other mines that were undiscovered until then. So they kind of tapped into a whole new resource of turquoise. But it has been heavily mined and in a lot of people's opinions over-harvested. So in your stone and crystal kit, or the year of stones and crystals, this is probably one of the most expensive or higher end pieces in your collection. And again, just think of something that takes millions of years to form, and then you have to find it, discover it, then dig it, get to it, then mine it, then tumble it and polish it, and then ship it and distribute it. So there's a lot that goes into having turquoise spread all over the world like it is. Now the color comes from incredibly high concentrations and really rich mineral mines of copper and aluminum. So those two minerals together, kind of like if you were to blend paint palettes and make a secondary color, when you put those two together, they create the turquoise color. So also it has to be like a perfect storm, and there has to be just the correct amount of these two minerals in the soil combined with correct temperatures and environment to create the stone. The name turquoise itself, most of ours from the previous months came from Latin root words, but this one is actually still just the French word today for Turkey, the country. So it was believed that Turkey was one of the very first origins for the discovery and cultivation of turquoise, of this stone. So not that it didn't exist in other places at the time, but the Turks were the ones that discovered it, mined it, and cultivated it and started to create it and turn it into jewelry and lovely pieces of ornamental silverware and things of that nature. So when people just began to see turquoise and they would trade and they would start to do voyages and cross seas and kind of global trading began to happen, the only place they had ever seen turquoise come from was from Turkey. So it became the name. Turkey means turquoise. So that's kind of a cool little tidbit, and it sticks today. So if anybody speaks French or goes to France, you would say Turkey and turquoise. It would be an interchangeable or a synonym for the same thing. Same word for different things, a country and the stone. Now, commonly in more Western origins, and a lot of this dates back to a Native American or an indigenous person's, First Peoples culture, it's known as the stone of friendship. And so it was often used as a token of trading, and it did have a high value, almost used as a form of currency. and when natives would barter with it, it was one of the higher valued stones and forms of barter. And then also a stone of friendship is that it was so coveted and revered, and people loved turquoise so much, they would only give it as a gift or part with it for somebody that really meant a lot to them. So it was like a real token of friendship or love to give a piece of turquoise. And then along with blue topaz, which is also the December birthstone, turquoise is commonly used as the December birthstone or the metaphysical birthstone in jewelry and other ways to represent the month. Now it's widely sought and cultivated like globally. So remember how we talked about Turkey, we're talking like 6,000 years ago, were the first places to find it. Well, now it's found just about everywhere, sort of like fluorite and quartz, if you remember from previous months. You can find those in just about every corner of the earth. However, where it's coming from determines its bands, its colors, its turquoise colors, its vibrancy of blue, its opaque. So you can kind of determine where your turquoise origin is from based off of its look and its banding and veins, they call it. And so it is a more expensive stone. And one thing to kind of be aware of is it's often sold in an imitation form. So a lot of turquoise jewelry or turquoise you see that's that really vibrant, like almost artificial blue, oftentimes is in fact. It'll be like a dyed quartz or howlite, something that's a little bit more common and that is easily lab treated to give the appearance and the look, which is okay, but it isn't a true piece of turquoise. So when you're shopping, you have to really look, and you should expect your turquoise to be on the higher, more expensive end, like in a stone collection or in a crystal shop. The one in your pouch, your take-home for your kit, for your Year of Stones and Crystals, is an authentic piece of African turquoise. And it is tumbled and polished. And you'll see it's got some black bands in it more than gold. And it might be a little darker hue than you would be accustomed to, or a greenish. And that's just because it is the African turquoise. And it is one that's often used and cut and faceted for jewelry making. So it's one of the higher end turquoises too. We have blue halites in the shop, but they're not an authentic turquoise, and I wanted you guys to have something that was real. So this will be yours. And it's really heavy. When you pick it up, guys, it's like dense. It has like a weight to it, especially compared to some of your other ones that almost feel light, especially for like a stone. This one has a real denseness and a heaviness. And now here's your little add-on. This is a piece of selenite, and this is called a wand for obvious reasons because it's a long wand-shaped piece. But you can get it tumbled and polished and in little chunks and chips even. And it's used as a tool. So when we've talked throughout the years about ideas like candle making, jewelry making, making elixirs, incorporating things into little crystal gardens, this is considered like a tool to kind of maintain and keep your stones and crystals on the up and up. So selenite is a salt-based crystal formed mostly of melted sand. So if anybody ever has like a desert rose or a gypsum rose, it's really similar. They're formed in the same place. Oftentimes when lightning storms strike the desert and they strike the ground and the sand, that's where the desert roses and the selenite are formed. So basically heaven and earth connect, and that lightning is so intense and strong, and then it's just a pure sand bottom without like the soil that we would think of here at home. It melts and fuses and creates these selenite. They come in big chunks, and then you buy them and you can kind of like tumble them or break them off or wand them. And so yours is called a raw wand, again, where your turquoise is tumbled and polished. This would be raw, which means it's just in its crude form and it hasn't really been adulterated or done much with to change its natural state or to polish it and make it shinier. And again, selenite wand and stones are used as stone and crystal tools. And what they do is they'll amplify the property or quality. You know how we said turquoise is the stone of friendship, right? And then other ones might be the stone of patience or the stone for positive dreaming. So you kind of use it as a tool to set your stone on and enhance or amplify the properties that already exist within. And then another thing the selenite wands and stones are used for as well is to like cleanse or purify stones and crystals in your collection. So how we oftentimes would use sage or white sage or aromatic herbs, and then the month we had the moonstone with the sage and the shell. That was another form of maintenance or cleansing or purification for stones and crystals and what people would consider important tools or collections. And so if you've carried yours with you all day and you feel like it's really served you well, or like a protection stone or a hematite, you can set your your stone on your selenite wand and let it kind of cleanse and get cleaned basically. And then they're also really pretty to set a few on and put like in the sun or moonlight. And then we've also before made chakra wands with them, with smaller stones and like little chips, and a lot of you guys probably have these in your own collection. And you use like a jewelry quality glue, and you can glue the colors of the chakra, the little stones, all the way up, and it makes a really nice little chakra wand. So you can use this with any and or all of the previous stones and crystals you got in the collection for the year. It is just a really fun, nice addition, and really pretty, right? I think everyone's going to enjoy it. The one trick is to always keep it dry. Where other things we've talked about, you can make an elixir and actually immerse it in a tea or a glass of water. This is so salt and sand based that it would just dissolve and kind of turn into like a pile of nothing. So you wouldn't want to expose it to water or drop it into water or anything like that, because it would essentially melt. So in conclusion, for the year 2022, the month of December, Lawrenceburg Public Library and 7th Street Gifts, we have the stone of turquoise. Yours is an African tumbled and polished turquoise, along with a selenite wand. And that will conclude the year of stones and crystals, and we look forward to next year, 2023, for the year of tea. And so there'll be more about that in your newsletter. Super happy holiday. Appreciate you all, and we'll see you next year.